Ready to add a little luxury to your Christmas crafting? Today I'm creating gorgeous high-end Christmas decor with a touch of sparkle and elegance. So let's get crafting. Head to the dollar store and pick up some of these glass containers or candlesticks. Both of these will work absolutely amazing. And they have such a wide variety of different ones for $1.25. So I'm taking these home and I am going to take 3 of these little pieces here. I'm going to be using 2 of these candlesticks and 1 of the bottles. And I'm going to take that outside and spray paint it with some black paint. Now, once all of our paint has dried, I went ahead and I brought these back into the craft room, and I'm just going to place them down onto a little paintable surface here, and we're going to be taking this Martha Stewart paint, and this is a really fun metallic paint here. The color is a brushed bronze, and I really just like how this looks. So we're going to be taking a little dry brush here with some light paint, and I'm just going to brush that over all of our pieces. And this gives a really high-end, elegant look to these little glass pieces. And here is what our pieces look like after they've been dry brushed. Now for our next step, we are going to grab 3 bottle brush trees. And to vary everything up, I did pick 3 different bottle brush trees, different shapes and different colors, just to give it a little bit more fun. Now to secure our bottle brush trees to our bases, I am using a little bit of hot glue, and then I'm just going to place them right on top. On a few of them, I left a little bit of the stem so they could drop down a little bit easier and be a little bit more stable. Otherwise, I cut them short so that they would fit nicely on top of those candlesticks. And that's all there is to it. These beautiful luxe trees are absolutely gorgeous. I just cannot wait to display these for the Christmas season. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit that like or subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow. Thank you. So I ran out of air dry clay and I went on to Amazon and I found this foam clay and I thought I'd give it a try. It's a lot mushier than the regular air dry clay that I use. It's more of a Play-Doh feel, but it's smoother than Play-Doh, almost like silly putty. It's kind of a different texture. And it worked well for this project. It is going to be a little bit of a lighter feel, so if you wanted more of that heavier clay feel to your project, this might not be the right clay for you, and you may want to use one of your other air dry clays. One of the nice features to this clay is it didn't leave any residue. So there wasn't that extra powdery mess that you might have with some of your other clays that you may use, but it definitely was more of a lighter feel. So your ornament that we're going to make here isn't going to be as heavy as one of the other types of air dry clay. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just 2 different types of clay. So I just wanted to put that out there in case you're interested. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm just going to roll this clay piece out a little bit here. And once I'm satisfied with the thickness, I'm going to take this doily I had in my stash, and I've used it for a few different projects, and I'm just going to roll this out over the top of the clay. And it's just going to leave a nice lace print on top of this clay. And I don't think this video does it justice how pretty this looks when you pull that doily right off of the clay. So now I'm going to just take some cookie cutters and I'm just going to cut out some shapes. We're just going to do some trees and some stars, but you can do whatever cookie cutter you'd like. And while we have a moment, I want to tell you all about this fun playlist I host every month with my good friend Lily at Lily D's Creations. This month, our theme is Christmas Luxe DIY Inspirations. Our guest host this month is Funky Junk Inspirations. These ladies are both so talented. I've linked them down in my description box below, as well as the playlist for this amazing collaboration. Please check out the link, let them know I sent you, and give them some love. Thank you for watching, and back to our video. So now that we have all of our little ornaments cut out, I'm going to come in with a skewer, and I just keep some skewers in my craft room that used for multiple different things. So you may see a little bit of paint on them, but that is just fine. We're just going to use that to make a hole at the top of each one of these ornaments while the clay is still wet, so we'll have a way to hang them. Then pack your patience because it's going to take a day, maybe two, for these to completely dry. Now, once these have completely dried, I'm going to be coming in with my Luxe Metallic Delta Creative paint. And this is one of my favorite white paints that has just enough of a shimmer that makes these look absolutely amazing. I'll link the paint down in the description box below. It is one of my go-to paints. So now we're just going to paint both sides of our ornaments, the front and the back side. I like to complete the back side on ornaments just because you still may see them on the tree when you hang them. Now, once the paint has dried, I'm taking some Mod Podge, and I'm using matte Mod Podge for this, and some little gold flakes that I got at the Dollar Tree. Then I'm going to be painting a little bit of Mod Podge on some of these ornaments. I'm going to do half of them with the foil and half of them without, so you can see the difference on these ornaments. And once you lay down a little bit of that Mod Podge, I'm going to come back in with the foil flakes and just kind of place that on top of our Mod Podge. And I just keep repeating that step until I'm satisfied with the layers of foil that are on our piece. Once that dries for a few minutes, I'm going to come back in with a dry brush here, and I'm just going to brush off any excess flakes on our ornaments. Now, to make sure that those foil pieces stay in place, I do a sealing coat of Mod Podge over the top of the foiled ornaments. Then we're going to come in with my Cricut weeding tool here, but anything that's sharp and pokey would work just fine. And we're just going to go ahead and just make sure that our holes that we created earlier are free of any paint or sealer so that we'll be able to add our ribbon. Now, the ribbon I'm going to be using is velvet ribbon. I've seen a lot of this on Pottery Barn lately, so that's why I chose it. And I did 1/4 inch thick. I did have some 3/8 inch thick ribbon, but it was just too thick. I thought the 1/4 inch ribbon worked a lot better for this. And I still had to kind of poke that through using my tool here. But once I got that through, this looked absolutely stunning. It really gives a high-end look to these ornaments by adding that little bit of velvet. So we're just going to tie a nice little knot at the top. You can trim that up once we're done. And then I'm going to be taking some hot glue, and I'm going to hot glue one of those small little ribbons right to the top of our ornament. And I know some of you out there are like, oh no, don't add another ribbon. And so I did save a few of the ornaments, and I didn't add a bow at the top so you guys could see what it looks like with and without a ribbon, so you can make the decision for yourself if you want to add one or not. And then I just repeat this step over again until all of the ornaments are complete. And now here is what our ornaments look like. We have the foil ornament, we have the ornament without a ribbon bow, and then a painted sparkle ornament as well. I just love how these turned out. I think these are going to be so amazing on our tree, and they have that high-end, elegant look without the price tag. Let me know in the comments below if you prefer the bow or no bow. So head to the hardware store and grab yourself a set of tiles. Just one sheet, it'll do. You'll be able to make so many fun things with this one tile set. And this set was $5.98, so I thought that was a pretty good price for as many ornaments that we're going to be able to make out of this. So I'm taking a razor blade here and I'm just going to cut apart these little tile pieces and cut off any excess. And now that we have a few tiles prepped, I'm going to set our tiles aside and I'm going to grab this lovely napkin that I got from the DIY Struggle. And Brandy, she's absolutely amazing. I just love watching her create different things on her channel. And I don't really talk a lot about watching other channels, but she is one of my favorites to watch. So her link for her website is down in my description box below if you're interested in this napkin. So what I'm doing here is I'm just going to prep the napkin by taking off the back two layers. And I find using a little piece of painter's tape really helps me take that back layer off. And for these two ornaments that I'm going to be making, I am going to be cutting a little bit of that lace trim off of the napkin here. And I'm going to be using that on top of my tiles. So I'm going to cut two pieces. They're going to be a little bit larger than the tile, but they are going to be perfect once we're done. So I'll show you how to do that here in a minute. And for these tiles, I'm going to be using the hard surface Mod Podge. And I'm just going to put a nice little coat over the top of our tiles. And while this is still wet, I'm going to go ahead and just layer one of those pieces of napkin right on top of the tile. So I'm just going to kind of position it the way that I would like. And then I'm just going to grab a small piece of cling wrap, layer that on top, and then smooth everything out. And then we just remove that piece of cling wrap and let that dry. While that's drying, I'm going to do a second tile. So now that our tiles are completely dry, I'm going to flip them over and I'm going to finish the back side of these tiles because I want it to look nice when I hang these on a tree. So what I'm going to be using is a silver paint that I have. This is from Delta Creative, and I'm just going to paint the back side of this tiles, and I do two coats. It probably would have been fine with one coat, but that second coat I felt like it really just sealed everything in and gave it a really nice finish. Now, once our paint has completely dried, I did flip these back over, and I'm going to go over the napkin portion with the hard surface Mod Podge again, just to seal everything in. Then once our Mod Podge is dry, I'm going to come in with my little zip sander. This is probably one of my favorite tools in my toolbox, and I'm just going to sand this down in a downward motion to remove any excess napkin. Now, once we've removed all that excess napkin, here is what our tiles are going to look like. Now, the edges still had that white finish on it, and so I thought that it would be good to paint that as well, but I didn't want to get any paint on my decoupage, so I'm using this paint pen. It's a silver paint pen from Apple Barrel. And I'm just going to use it to go ahead and get the outside perimeter of our tiles. Now for the fun part. I have these foil sheets that I got from Ben Franklin, and they are silver. So we're going to use some of this foil sheets to just give a little sparkle to our little charms here that we're making for ornaments. To add the foil, I'm just going to be using a little bit of Mod Podge, and I'm going to be painting around little perimeter portions of the tile here. I'm not putting the Mod Podge on the whole entire tile, just on little pieces of the tile. Then I'm going to take that sheet of foil and I'm just going to layer that right on top of where I stuck the Mod Podge. And then I'm going to keep repeating that step until I've covered the whole entire tile. Now, I'm not covering every inch of the tile. I'm only covering little pieces of the tile. And what this will do is it's going to give the napkin on the tile, it's going to make it look like there's little foil creases all over the tile. It's going to give a really fun look, and I really like doing this technique. So I'm going to just keep repeating the same step where I'm adding a little bit of Mod Podge, a little bit of foil, and we just repeat until we've gotten enough foil onto our piece. I am going to let that dry for a minute, and I'm going to end up doing the foil on the other tile while that is drying. Now, once we are done adding that foil, I'm going to come in with a dry brush here, and I'm just going to brush off any excess foil. Now, here is what our little tiles are looking like. I just love how this is looking. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come back in with that Mod Podge, and we'll just do a quick sealing coat over the top of the foil to make sure everything stays into place. Now that everything has dried, we're going to flip over our tiles, and I'm going to be taking a little bit of E6000. I'm going to add that on top of our little tile on the back side. And then I'm going to be using these pendant bails, I believe is what they're called. They are a jewelry tool or accessory, and I use them a lot with my crafts for ornaments. I think they make the perfect ornament hook. So we're just going to add that on with some E6000. We'll let that dry for about a half an hour, and then these will be ready to add our little ribbon to make a beautiful hanger for these ornaments. Now here is what our beautiful ornament looks like. I absolutely love how these turned out. I think these are the perfect little ornament to add to any mid-sized tree or mini tree. They also would look good on a large tree as an accessory. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these ornaments. Do you like putting foil on your decoupage? Pick up one of these cute lanterns from the Dollar Tree and let's transform it into something absolutely stunning for Christmas. So we're going to take this lantern, and after we verify that it works, I'm taking some blue tape here and I'm going to tape off all of the windows. And I did find using this little plastic knife that I use for putty was a great way to make sure that that tape went underneath the edge of the window here, so we could tape it off really nicely. So now that everything has been taped off, I'm going to place this down onto a paintable surface. So next we will take our Martha Stewart metallic brushed bronze paint. You can use any sort of gold or silver paint that you have, but I really like this color. So we're going to take this and we're going to dry brush this onto our lantern. And once we are satisfied with our dry brushing, this is what our lantern is going to look like. Before we pull the tape off, I do take this outside and I spray this with some Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel to seal everything in. Next, we're going to remove all of that painter's tape. Now, if you want, you could just leave the lantern just as it is, but I did want to take this up another level because I wanted it to be more Christmassy. So I'm going to be taking one of these greenery picks that I got from Hobby Lobby last year, and I'm going to take one of these pieces and we're going to just wrap that around the base of our little lantern here, and I'm going to make a little wreath. Now that we have our wreath, I am going to take one of these berry picks that I had from the Dollar Tree. This has been in my stash for quite some time. And I'm just going to pull off a few of these berries. Now, when you're pulling some of these berries off, you may get like a spot where you'll see a little bit of the white from the styrofoam. And that's fine, because that's going to be the perfect spot for you to glue it down onto the wreath so you won't see it. Next, you're just going to take a little bit of hot glue, and we're just going to hot glue some of these little berries onto the wreath. And now once you get all of those berries added to your wreath, your beautiful little lantern is ready to display. I just love how this lantern turns out. It is so stunning and such an elegant piece to add to your Christmas decor. Let me know what you think about this lantern down in the comments below. Thank you so much for crafting with me today. Be sure to check out our Christmas Luxe DIY inspiration playlist for even more beautiful ideas. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and let me know which DIY was your favorite. Until next time, please remember, craft more, stress less.